Okay. Seder. Good morning. We are in Tafir Shlam and Dalid Sivches. Sukkah she'ena gavor. Tafir Shlam, sorry, Tafir Shlam Gimel. Sivches. Sukkah she'ena gavor asar tvachim psula. Right, the first half of the Siddur talked about something, the tallest one, which is 20 amos. Now, the lowest height a sukkah could be is asar tvachim, or as it's possible, because it's not called a dira because you're too squished. Person can't. The person has to bend over and whatever to eat. That's not called a dira. So therefore, that's why it's called dira srucha. It's possible. The test. Haisa gavoa me'asara. Let's say it's taller than 10 tvachim. Now we have by Esrinamus, we had the case of Hutzin Yordim that was b'mayit the halal of the sukkah, and we said that's going to work. But now we have the opposite case, where let's say it's a higher than asar, but you have Schach hanging down, the Soich asar, feel im chamasam ruba mitzilasam psula. Even if it's the one area it's chamasam ruba mitzilasam, it's possible, because it make a person can't sit in the sukkah, which is under 10 tvachim. Oim hanoim. You're already in the Sukkah Sarah, einam psulim. But if you have, the Chinese streamers, or you have bottles of oil, or you have fruit, anything like that, which is for the noise of the sukkah hanging down, then they don't passel because a person likes decorating his house, and he'd be willing to go ahead and live in a, live in a more squishy house. To put up like nice, put nice stuff like chandelier and nice thing, whatever. He'd be willing to bend down a little bit to go ahead and to live in a house like that. So it's not called adira srucha because he appreciates it. But the only the one thing which is it is brought down, Shabura brings down, is if you have a lantern with actual fire, or let's say you have a light which can get very, very hot and cause the schach to catch fire. As I said before, then you have to be sure you put it down further. I don't know what that's it says by in an earlier simon. I don't know what the din over here would be, but Achol Panim. If you have a bowl but it makes it hot and you put it lower, is that called a noi? I don't know. But in general we don't usually make our sukkahs 10 tvachim. Sif Yud. Haisa nemucha me'asara. Let's say it was less than under 10 tvachim. Chakakpa la'ashlima la'asara. What you went ahead, you built it, you realized it was you can only do it, 6 tvachim tall. So you went in with your shovel and you dug out another 4 tvachim, 5 tvachim, whatever, 4 tvachim to get to 10 tvachim. Yesh b'chakak shir hechsher sukkah, and it's Zion, right, or bigger. Im ein bein chakak l'koitzel. If there's no, if between the depression, the pit, or whatever, so the koisel shosha tfachim, if it's less than gimel tfachim, because obviously if you dug under the koisel would sink in and koisel would fall. So you do it as close as possible. So if it's less than 3 tvachim, ksheira, because we say lavud, and it's ki'ilu, the walls go all the way down to the bottom of the pit, and you're fine. Yesh b'neihem shosha tfachim, but if it's more than gimel tfachim, psula, because we don't say dofen akuma in this case, even though by Esrim Amos we say that if you build a litztaba, you build a pedestal, a platform in the sukkah, and it's Dal Amos, we say dofen akuma, and it's ki'ilu we mamayit the schach, and it's ki'ilu the walls go diagonally, or however hit the bottom of hit the tztava. We don't say that in this case because if it's not 10 tvachim tall, it's not called a mechitza. it doesn't have a shem mechitza. You can't have a dolphin. If you don't have a dolphin, you don't have an akuma. So therefore, it won't work. Where this is actually nogea, the place can talk about. It's more nogea here than it's Israel, maybe also chutzvaras. I don't know. Is that when people make their sukkahs on their merpeset, on their balcony, so around the lip of the balcony where they put the the bars and things, there's usually there's a lip. There's a lip with a place usually to sit, and they put the bars there. So the question is that what? Let's say you have a sukkah which is Zayin al Zayin, which only only includes the shear until on top of this shelf. Is that considered part of the sukkah? Because here we're talking about if it's more than gimel, you have a depression, and it's more than gimel, so therefore it's not considered the lower part is not connected to the top of the lower part here. If it's more than 3, it's not connected to the wall over here. So too, if you have, let's say you put a wall here, or you have your sorgim or whatever it is, and it goes up, and there's more than 3 tfachim, so you're gonna have a problem, maybe. So the different dinim are that if it's less than 3 tfachim wide until the wall, everyone agrees it's fine. It's just like the case over here; it's not a problem. If it's more than gimel tfachim, so then there's a discussion that if from the lip from where the sorghum start until the schach is less than 10 tfachim, and you have to mitzvah that which is down below, so you get into a machlokes. As Shari Tshuva brings Tshuva's Dvar Shmuel, who says be'ikar adin it's okay. However, it's better not to. If you have anything else, but it's better not to build it like that chachila. Of course, if you have a bigger sukkah than Zayin al Zayin, you don't need that shear, but you need the dolphins. It's also a little bit better. If you have a chalal of asar tfachim, then like I said, the Dvar Shmuel is makel, and the person can even sit over there and be considered under the schach. If the pedestal is less than 10, then it's also a bit of a machlokes. So obviously, when you get into shilos on the merpesot, and there's a little bit, there's a small place to do a sukkah, it could be it's better to go ahead and just raise everything up with chachila, or go ahead and make it even, so you won't have a shiloh, and then you won't have a shiloh. Al Panim, that's where it's nogea over here. Question I have, and we'll be nogea later, is can you put are you allowed to? Well, let's say you're being makel, are you allowed to sleep over there or sit over there? So the answer the place can say is that it doesn't that it could be it's okay. It's like the case of you have the slanted roof wall. You're allowed to sit under the place where it's under a sar tfachim because it's considered a wall. So once you consider that part a wall to the schach, even though you're sitting inside the wall keilu, that's still okay. Hafish Lamed Daled. Sukkah she'ein ba shiva al shiva. If you have a sukkah which is not zayin tfachim by zayin tfachim, psula, that's not called a dira. It has to be the shear which is machzik rosha v'ruba she'adam v'shulchan tefach. That it has to be that a person's able, in order to be called a dira, a person has to be able to sit inside. And the Shulchan Tefach. Now, what we're talking about, what the person can say, is you're talking about the time of the Gemara. Mimaske Hilchos Pesach, they used to eat a haseba, lying on their side with a little table in front of them eating. So therefore, Rosh Verubo would be he'd be lying down and have a Shulchan Tefach, and that would fill in Zayin al Zayin. Discussion nowadays is what about now a person sit? He may take up less room, we still doesn't change. It doesn't change the shear. And still go by Zion al Zion. In the Goida in la shear l'mayla, if it's Zion al Zion, doesn't make a difference. It can be as high as obviously Esim Amos, even though it's very very thin, it could be as high as possible. But the Dupoiskim do say Zion al Zion is bedafka Zion al Zion. But if it's not the area, so you can't say, well, I have Gimel, I have. I'll have a gimel by whatever 3 by something else. You start playing around with things. If it's long and narrow, it's puzzle still because there's not room for a person to sit in there with Rosh of Arubo by a table. Beis imi agula, if it's a circular sukkah cylinder, tzar sheheba kedei larabea shiva al shiva. It has to be. That where the Mishaburus brings down, the place can bring down that the circumference is 29 tvachim, 29 and 2/5 tvachim. That therefore you'd be able to go ahead and put in that case you can put a diameter of Zion al Zion.
Doesn't it need Dalit Defonis? No.
No, as long as it's Ki'ilu Dalit Defonis, it won't be.
You can have 5 walls and
Right. Right. It just before the. Right. So it's right. So like if you look at it technically, you're right. A circle is 1,000 walls, whatever. So that would be fine. Gimel yesh ba shiva al shiva nasa ba begadim l'noi. So let's say it's Zion al Zion, and you put nice tapestry on the wall, you put the nice white material, things like that. And that material makes it, you do it exactly, and it makes it a tiny bit smaller than shiva al shiva psula. So even though we just said before by the dira srucha, by the under 10 tvachim high, we said that the noise sukkah is not mamayit. But that's because a person he'll push down a little bit he can bend down. But a person, you can't go ahead. You're not talking, the sukkah. However much kedusha is in it, you're not talking about. It's not talking about the kodesh kodashim, the aron, and where it doesn't, where the measurements don't exactly work out. You're not, and maybe it will happen, but you can't rely on that. And therefore, if it's b'mayit the shear, you don't have the shear to sit in it comfortably. It's not considered a dira, and it can't. And therefore it's psula. Let's say you have Rosh Aruba sukkah, you're sitting there. So obviously, if you sit in the sukkah and it's Zayin, it's Rosh Aruba, and your legs are sticking out, but you're sitting eating on your lap, that's fine. But let's say you put a Shulchan sticking, outside the sukkah, and you're eating, let's say it sticks in a drop, whatever, you're eating over there. So Achal, and he ate. Ki'ilu lo achal b'sukkah. It's ki'ilu you didn't eat in the sukkah. Feeling of sukkah gedola. Even if it's a sukkah gedola and you were sitting by the edge of the sukkah and you had your table, into the, on the edge of the sukkah. Gzeira sham yimashech achal shulchano is gzeira chachamim. That if you go ahead and you're sitting by the edge of the sukkah, or you're sitting in Zion al Zion, your shulchan is outside the sukkah. So even if you have your little plate over here, but you're going to go ahead and you're going to pass, pull stuff over. You're going to start eating over here. You're going to be outside the sukkah, and you won't realize it. So therefore, it's going to be that it's going to be also you're not yotzei mitzvah sukkah with that. However, like I said, if the shulchan's going in a tefach like we had before, if the schach goes up to the opening is over here and you have just enough to put your plate down a tefach, then we don't say shama yamashech, and that's rosh v'ruba v'shulchano, and that would be fine. But if it's outside the sukkah, it doesn't work. It's
part of the table can be
all the tefach is inside, so therefore, let's say for example, you have a little balcony peset or whatever, and it's not big enough to put you have a single person thing, not big enough to put a table. You take your dining room table and you put it next to the sukkah. As long as it sticks into the sukkah, the tefach, then you're fine. Tarfish lamed hey. Din sukkah's ganbach v'rakvash. What is this? Sukkah If you have a sukkah, that wasn't made for mitzvah sukkah, it's kosher, but it has to be, it's some sort of hut that was made for shade. Because a sukkah, the point of the sukkah is sitting under the schach, which gives shade. As opposed to just, that has to be, that it protects from the elements. But if it's just there, so a person wants in sneeze, whatever, he wants a changing room, or he doesn't want people to see him, so a person made a little sukkah and a little thing on top or whatever. So that's not good. It has to be, it's made to protect himself. Kegoin, sukkah's goyim. Sukkah's goyim is that it's not something which are let's say they're shepherds or something like that. It's not something kavua. It's not something made for shade. Noshim, it's a sukkah for women, which is made for tznius. Let's say there's a mikveh in the area, whatever it is. Behema, it's for behema.
Right. So these are good.
These are.
Ones that are.
Yeah, sorry, these are good. I apologize. You're right, made a mistake. These are good because they're made for sale. Sorry, the noshim is also there, so it's a small sukkah for noshim that they I apologize. Whatever, it's in the sada that they want to have shade. Behema, it's for behema, kusim, or the kusim made it. Roim, if it's for shepherds. Chayatzim, or it's for the harvesters. Burganin are for the it's a hut for the Shomri Ayir, soldiers or whatever it is. Shomri Sados are for the Shomri people want to watch the Sados. Of a sukkah shenasis me'eleha psula, but a sukkah which is made, lemaisa shenasis l'tzeil. So let's say you had by a building, you had an atrium or some sort of alcove, like a stairwell or something like that, which opened to the top, and people, happened to be there, were storing their schach. They're storing their schach there, before Sukkah, so they went away for Sukkah. So you want to use that as a Sukkah. So that wouldn't be good because that wasn't made for. It wasn't made for sale. It wasn't made for anything. Even though it's technically okay, but it's not. It's puzzle. Someone who goes ahead and he has a big haystack and he digs inside the haystack. Now, the haystack is on top it's kosher schach. So he goes ahead and digs out a nice hole. So sukkah ain't a sukkah. That's not called a sukkah. Sharilo imer gadish zel itself. Person didn't go ahead and make a haystack for sale. And if you go ahead and will say, what's the big deal? I dug it out, now I make it for sale. And there's no way to machshir it because you'd have to go ahead and take the top off and it's going to ruin the whole haystack, so you have a problem. If when you made the haystack, you had in mind, this is going to be a great sukkah, you made a chalal tefach, shiva, l'shem sukkah. You didn't do a whole sukkah, but you went ahead and you said, well, maybe I might use it. So you made an empty space of a tefach, tefach by tefach, which goes 7 tefachim, l'shem sukkah, or let's say it's on the side of it, whatever. V'chaltat ba achar kach v'ishlim ela asara. And then, you instead afterwards, instead of a tefach al tefach, you dug down and made it 10 tefachim ksher. That would be kosher. Shenas schach shel l'tzeil. When you had in mind when you did it, you left a place that you're going to want to make a sukkah there. So then the top of it is made for tzeil. If it's a very large gadish, and you didn't, and you only put a tefach, then you didn't just do 10 tefachim. You went, you made it, nice gishmak sukkah. But also about sukkah g'dayla, enak sheira kula. That's not going to work because you made a tiny little, you made a little thing and you made it much bigger. That's not going to work. It would have to be a much bigger a much bigger shear. Uh, So that whatever I doesn't really say the share has to, but there has to be something makom chashuv. If you went ahead and made a hollowed out from both sides, arba amos yaiser al shiva. If you went ahead and hollowed out arba amos, afa shiva psula. The schach pasul paisel min atzad, but arba amos. If you went ahead and you let's say you dug further in. So then you went ahead and you dug Arba Amos. Then the schach on top is a schach of Tasalum and Asui, and it's a psul of that. So then therefore you need more than Dal Amos if that part wasn't made for schach. Ramal says, in general, a person should not put the schach up before he puts the fanos. But if you went ahead and you made a wall, some sort of wall, a tefach wall next to the schach, then you can go ahead. You made a little thing, and you can go ahead and you finish the schach before you put the other tefanos. As long as there's a tefach, then we don't say, and then you finish the mechitzas. It's just like by the gadish. There is a discussion in the achronim. The Bach says that it is kosher, unlike the Ramah. However, many achronim say not like that. You know, the Shulchan is nice to say it is kosher because on Shabbos the point is there has to be there is an oil there. Schach is an oil, and Sukkah has a bit of an oil. So he doesn't know why it won't necessarily work. But however, they do the things that the Ben Ish Chai talks about. What if the mechitzas fell before you set it up nicely and then the mechitzas fell? So he says you have to go ahead and you have to put the mechitzas up. You have to put the thing up because otherwise it's not called tassel of osui, because the mechitzas have to be up first, or at least a tefach. So if you were studying things, you were already right after Yom Kippur. It's all built, and then 2 hours before the Sukkah, they fell down. So and you better rush. And you put them back up. You have to put the schach up, pick the schach up again to mekayim this Ramah. So al kapanim, So this is that's the person should be makpid when you build the sukkah. The last thing should be after you've been talking. The last thing should be is the schach, unless you have an existing walls or whatever. But it's better to leave that to the end. That's it.